All right, we'll get our work section underway here. Folder, I didn't bring anything. And as usual, we'll start with interviews for boards and commissions. And we will begin this evening with Christy Phelps, who is interviewing for the City Planning Commission. So Christy, if you want to come just stand next to me, that would be great. We're pretty informal in this room. And you are, just so you know, you're being recorded for posterity on YouTube and all those good things. Yeah, well, yeah, it'll be on YouTube for, I don't know how long, probably forever. But if you would just share with us a little bit about, what you might bring to the Planning Commission, why you might like to be on it, we would like to hear from you.
So I moved to Webster Groves in 2019. I am a licensed architect with the state of Missouri, and I actually started my architecture journey because of an interest in historic towns and the lives that they live through time and how they evolve with how people live their lives and how that works kind of over time and how codes become involved and stuff like that. So when I moved into a historic neighborhood, I was very interested in getting involved. I've unfortunately spent a chunk of this in COVID because I moved in 2019, but it was still a great place to be for that time span. I work at Matthew Mitchell down in the city, so I get to enjoy a lot of time down there. I have friends who are on the planning commission there, and they've just said that it was a really good experience to get involved in the community and hear what things are happening around town and get the opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas with them.
All right, great, thank you.
Great.
Any questions?
I was just curious why plan and versus like ARB or one of the other boards.
So I like the big picture. I did mark that I was also interested in ARB on mine as well. I'm just very interested in getting involved in the community and seeing it grow. Planning in particular, my interest would be in the idea of having our walkable districts and areas where people can kind of live their whole lives in one space. So like our downtown area. I live right off of Elm down past Schnucks. So the idea of if there was one day I could walk to Schnucks with a sidewalk, I can walk there now. There's not a sidewalk, that kind of thing. I live right by the recreation center. And so that's a great amenity that I've gotten to learn more about over time.
Great, okay, thank you. Other questions?
No, it seems like with our comprehensive plan, there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's got good experience at a good firm, so.
All right, thank you. See, that
Thank you.
wasn't so
Yeah.
hard. Go ahead, Jess.
We're so bad.
Are you a K-State graduate? Jean?
I am a K-State grad.
I just spent the weekend with a proud mother of a K-State architecture grad in LA. So what is it? Go Cougars? Is that what it is?
Wildcat.
Wildcats. Okay, I was close.
All
right.
Wildcat. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, next we have our ever popular library board position, and Leanne Coates is here with us. Leanne, you can come to either side, doesn't matter. And we'll let you take your turn.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Leanne Coates. I have applied to be on the library board. I am a 36 plus year, I've lived in Webster Groves for 30
We were getting where you were
Okay, you know
going.
where he's going with that. So I've been part of the community for quite a long time. Worked, not only lived here, but worked within the area, have served in the senior services arena for both Lutheran Senior Services and Bethesda Health Group, where I am currently. Worked a lot with the senior roundtable here, so have some experience working in terms of the city, doing support for, older folks that are in need, things such as that. Interested in the library board. I actually have had a couple of friends who have served on different planning commissions and have recommended that as an opportunity and way to become involved. I don't really have any experience in terms of serving on the library board, but I have been on other boards such as the Webster Shrewsbury Chamber of Commerce. So I'm familiar with procedures and what the commitment means to be involved in such an organization. I think the library is a wonderful resource for Webster. Would love to see it continue to be as successful and be part of that. Also, I'm thinking about retiring sometime pretty soon, so I'm gonna have a little more time on my hands and thought maybe I'd miss meetings. So I thought, well, that's a good way to get involved again. But anyway, I am interested in participating, and I hope that you'll consider me as an applicant.
Any questions? Our one council member who's absent would have asked you where you stand on the banning of books. And so since all our applicants are treated the same, I'm gonna ask you that question.
I believe that books should be available as they are written and am against the banning of books. I believe that people should have the choice to make whether or not they read whatever accepted book is out there. And I believe all materials should be available for people to make that choice whether or not they read them.
Great, thank you very much, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having
All right, enjoy the rest of your evening. A few notes on, so that means we now have 5 applicants for our 1 vacancy on the library board. We have a couple of current vacancies, Green Space Advisory, although we do have an interview scheduled for April 1st. We've got 3 openings, I believe, I think that's right, on the Police Community Engagement Board, a resident, a business owner, and then someone from the medical profession. And then we are right now, we have 1 alternate member on traffic advisory, but they can't have up to 2. Is that correct, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's just one available right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
gotcha, okay.
Correct.
And then we also then need to deal with the Business Development Commission appointment for John Souter. So we will, we're gonna do our other business first, and then we'll come back and discuss these particular appointments. Because we do also, by the way, need to talk about ARB a little bit, just as a preview. We have 2, both Bob Buckman, the chair, and Tracy Collins, the vice chair, essentially are term limited out, but they're the most senior. We don't have anyone on there with any leadership experience yet, so we need to figure out whether we would like to see if they're willing to extend at least for a year, or one of them is, while maybe somebody else can take a leadership position. So just, you can mull that over as we're doing other things here for the next.
Do they want to?
Well, I didn't want to ask them, give that as an option unless
Okay.
council was willing
Okay.
to entertain it as an option. And if we would like to consider that as an option, I'm happy to call them and talk to them about it.
That was the ARB.
That is the ARB, yeah. Okay, is there anything anyone would like to review on the regular agenda? Nope, all right, let's keep rolling. We do have, you had a memo in your packet from City Clerk Nakazano about having the August 5th meeting. That was a recommendation of staff that that's our summer meeting off. Does anyone have any problem with that? All right, so I think we can all mark our calendars or unmark our calendars as the process may be. All right, we will then move on to our issues and updates. And who wants to start? Or am I just gonna call on someone
I'll
like you?
start,
Paul?
because I left my notebook at home, so I don't have a clue what we talked about in our meeting.
Okay,
Except that, so our Parks and Rec will be tomorrow, because we changed it because of, spring break, and then we did select a secretary. I do remember that. So we selected a secretary to take care of our minutes and everything, because
Okay.
apparently that hadn't been done.
good.
Well, I think Mara was doing it before and had tried to get somebody to take it and they wouldn't or something. I guess that's what the conversation was. I said, well, okay, well, we need something now.
Good.
So, we have that taken care of. And there were 2 demolitions and then again, just a lot of talk around the concern about these oversized homes being built and its impact on the smaller homes surrounding homes.
So on that note, I heard from Sam Dobson this week, who is finishing up a written version of a report, which then we can distribute to the appropriate boards and commissions, so they can take a look at that as well.
That's all I got.
Last week, neither commission has met, both have openings, plan and green space that we just talked about. I did have a question, Dr. Peoples,
Yes, ma'am.
on the sidewalk policy.
Yeah.
Did that get all the way finished? It is finished, it's on the website. Could you tell me where it is on the website?
Absolutely.
And
I'll
it
send
doesn't
you
have to be
the
right now,
link.
it's
Sure,
really
I'll send you
familiar.
the link.
And if we, I don't know if we publicized it in the Friday page, but it might be good to throw it out there. Cause I know that's a question that comes up a lot on the sidewalks. That's all.
Old Orchard Commission met a couple weeks ago, and they've finalize their budget and just turn that in. So right now they are working on the report. And a lot of it will entail the new organization or reviving the trade association for that. So there's a lot of work and details and how they want to do that, pay for it, et cetera. And I was not at sustainability yesterday, but Mira
I'll do that one
went
for
in
you.
my place. So I'm really curious to see how it went.
Nothing for me, Madam Mayor.
Emerson?
I do have something, but I gotta find it first.
Would you like me to come back to
Yeah,
you?
would you please?
Yes, ma'am. Starting April 1st, which is Tuesday, planning department will be open on Tuesdays moving forward. I think that's it.
Mr. Brunschreiger, we're not gonna let you hide out. Anything?
I have nothing.
All right. Emerson, you still looking?
Yeah, but I can tell you basically what it is. Police department in conjunction with PCB is having a safety forum. I believe it's in May. Is it May?
It doesn't make.
So you'll get some more details on it next meeting.
Okay.
I think they got a good agenda lined out for the residents.
Great, thank you. I do actually have a relatively long list. I apologize for that. But I did go to the Sustainability Commission meeting yesterday. We now have a Green Dining District certification in Webster Groves because that means 20% of our restaurants have been certified. And so they are right now looking at an early June event to celebrate that, including a little bus tour around to the different participants. April 19th, Saturday from 10 to noon is an EV charging event. It'll be in the parking lot out here. Demonstration of electric vehicles. They'll also have some plug-in hybrids. And so they're getting a lot of things lined up for that event. And then there's a presentation on dark skies. We've heard before about this because Green Space Advisory Commission is going to make that recommendation to us. The presentation was to sustainability to see if they wanted to join in that recommendation. Sustainability is going to take a month and you have a subcommittee take a look. I think Green Space will probably go ahead and submit and sustainability can be added if they decide to do that. Traffic Advisory Commission met right after Sustainability Commission, and that was about their annual report, which we'll see on April 1st. But also they are working right now on it with TrailNet on an education program for the complete streets, kind of a big picture view. I don't know if you remember, maybe it was a year ago. I can't remember how long ago they talked about doing some education. They're really getting to work on that. And just so everyone knows, they are consulting with the Safe Streets for All committee to make sure that nobody's getting in the way there and that they're complementary rather than competitive. Our board and commission presentations to council are scheduled for April 1st. Please, every council member, I'm going to ask you to, in the next couple of days, consult with the chairs of your commissions to make sure that they are available. We have almost all the reports. We're missing a few. Katie's been wrangling those. And as soon as we have all of them, we will just go ahead and send them out to you so that you have plenty of time to take a look at them.
Is that gonna be at a regular council meeting?
That will be in a regular council meeting
At 7:30.
at 7:30.
Regular
Yep,
session.
yep, regular session.
And you want them to send the completed forms to you by when?
They're supposed to be
March
here
15th.
already.
You already got them? Okay.
Yeah, I know. So Katie, you have historic preservation, right?
Yes,
And Park said they're gonna finish tomorrow night, so
Okay.
they're good. If you'll just confirm, somebody will be there. And if a chair can't be there, a vice chair is fine. Any committee member to come on April 1st that wants to do a quick update of that work plan and budget proposal would be great. Dr. Peoples has asked us a couple of times for comments about the revenue options. So if you have not shared those with her, I suggest you do. We have calendared work session discussion probably in the second meeting in May. So we'll get there. And the last thing I think on my list, Heart of Community Awards are scheduled for April 25th, which is a Friday night, 6 p.m. At the Shrewsbury City Center. Tiara is putting together the table and what we're gonna do. So if you could please is it let her know or let you know or?
Me, and I sent out an email too.
Okay, so you have an email as well. So please, if you can come and if you would like to bring your spouse with you, or please just let us know immediately because we're making the chamber very nervous right now in terms of our response. I don't think we're the only ones, but. Okay, I think I'm finished talking now, for the time being at least. Okay. Summer meeting schedule memo. I think I already did that and I did it out of order. I apologize for that. Strategic plan update. Who's gonna do that?
Mr. Davis.
Deputy City Manager Davis.
So a little background info timeline on the strategic planning process for anybody that is watching at home. We started the strategic planning in winter of 2022. Right here. Did some community surveys and some staff surveys that winter. Council developed the top portion of the plan in 2023 and had adoption of the plan July 18th of 2023. And then all the different departments and offices of the city added a bunch of tactics in off of the goals that you guys had created. And we used those through calendar 2024 as our work product going forward last year. One of my tasks when I took this new role was to update that plan and bring it forward for 2025 and to really build out our dashboards so that we can show the public all the work that we're doing on these tactics. And so we've been doing that quite a bit over the last several months. Myself and Beth from Shockey Consulting met with each of the departments for about 2 hours to revise our tactics and really hone in on all those key performance indicators so we could make sure that what we were trying to show was going to be measurable. The data would be repeatable quarter after quarter so we could show good timelines, that they weren't things that would take a lot of time to put together every quarter. It was relevant and easily findable data. So really focused in on those. We had too many tactics, I think, to start with. It was our first go around as department directors, even myself doing this last year. We probably had too many. So we had 114 in the original plan in 2023-24, and we've scaled that back to 72 for this plan. So I think it's a much more concise set of tactics, something that the departments can really hone in on and focus to lead us forward. So once all those tactics were done, we created the actual plan document, which was sent out to you and is shown on the screen. It's a 27-page document that really is the roadmap that outlines our strategic plan for the city and where we're trying to go to in the future. So this plan is a living document. It will be continuing to be refined and updated as we go forward. However, it's probably going to be static for the next year or so. We really need to start providing data and getting some good data and some good trend lines in there. So we don't want to completely overhaul it every year. There may be tactics that we finish, and that's fine. It's great, actually. We can say that we're done with those full 100%. And there'll be some tactics that may take us a couple of years to get to. So again, council adopted the full plan. You guys did the vision and mission and created those a couple years ago. So none of that changed. The principles and our goals didn't change. Those are all stay the same. Our values are the same. What we really came into was we took these individual 6 goals that council created. The first one, provide excellence in service. And we came in with each department and we created all these various tactics and really put these together, put a lot of work into them. Off of those tactics, there are a set of, I want to make this a little bigger for those at home. There are a set of performance indicators. All of these performance indicators are what will show up on our dashboard and will be data that we can show. And I'll show you some of the dashboards here in just a couple minutes. This is a draft document right now. The goal is to take this out of draft mode and publish it this month. we'll update the website. We'll put this document on the website for all of our residents to be able to see. And then in April, we'll start reporting on Q1 data. So all these performance indicators that we have in each one of these goals, the various departments will provide that data back into the dashboard, and it'll start populating out. We'll have that dashboards up and spinning up mid-April so that everybody can see, how far we've come.
Before you move on to that, I have a question. I saw all of the key performance indicators for each group. That's a lot of indicators, Is there like 5 or 10 indicators that could please show others? I mean, it could be an indicator for the department, but not necessarily that they're achieving, I guess, as far as the public concern. Average time to hire, longevity of employee. I mean, I don't know if all of them are really relevant to production, I guess.
Sure, and some of these will be more relevant to citizens, some of them may be more relevant to staff and administration as we're trying to, those longevity employees and average time to hire. That's something that as administration we're trying to do. We're trying to get those jobs published and advertised and interviewed and hired as soon as possible, so we don't have any service breakdowns for our residents.
Right. So is that a KPI for the human resource department versus?
Yes, and so when we get to the dashboards,
Yeah.
so each of these basically go in order. So if you come up to the top, streamline hiring process to timely backfill open positions is one of the tactics for the finance and workforce department.
Okay.
And then, yes, average time to hire would be one of those KPIs for that original tactic.
Okay, so those KPIs are for all of the segments
Yes,
in the order that they appear on that document.
yes.
Okay.
There are a few of these as you go through here that some of them are the same KPI, but they may be for different departments. I didn't list those each one all the way through. They will show on the dashboard. Each one of these tactics will have its own graphic and dashboard. So it'll show on there, and you may see that a little bit better here when I grab those dashboards here in just a minute.
Will the dashboards be available to the public, or is that?
They will, absolutely. So we're going to start April 1st. We're going to report Q1 data January to end of March, and then that'll be up mid-April, and it'll be posted on our city's website. I'll show you where those are going to be too. And it's completely open and transparent. Anybody can get on there and click around, find all these individual tactics, and then see those KPIs and those graphics that spin up once that data is loaded in. We don't really need to read through all these. It's pretty hefty, 27 pages worth of tactics and such, but there is one for each of our 6 area goals that council ensure long-term integrity. As this plan moves forward, this page is double draft mode. I wanted you guys to realize these were not our numbers. I actually stole these dashboard graphics off borrowed them from some of the other cities that I'm going to show you here in a minute. But we'll be able to have graphics similar to this one, that may show, that was one too many, that may show, our public safety calls for service on the fire side and the police side. Simple, easily found graphics that anybody can see and can click into. Same thing with, social media and website visits and trees planted, whatever tactic we have. So, and then finally, we did want to acknowledge all the people that worked very hard on this process. We had a lot of residents that filled out surveys at the beginning of the project. They continue to stay involved and look forward to these dashboards and see the transparency that we're going to be able to provide to them. Obviously, the employees put together, council put a significant amount of time in it. And then we did have several consultants that helped us out on this project as well. So want to acknowledge all the work that everybody put into it. So that's the document. And then does anybody have any questions on this document before I show you some of the dashboards?
Just say thank you, and I would imagine that there's a lot of different people whose hands on these. I also appreciate how good it looks. I mean, it's an inviting document to read through.
It is. It was very easily understand your document.
That is very good to hear. And it's been a labor of love and Scott has spent a lot of time on it and really dug into each of the departments.
There's so much data, but it does,
It's a lot of
hard to organize that, but you guys did a great job.
data and, well, Scott's driving, he shared that many of the dashboards, they may stay static as we're getting into this for a year, but this is also an opportunity to learn because to Councilman Smith's point, 70 some is still a lot of tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
So we may find that not all of them need to be reported or that they really don't move. So we'll continue to hone in on that.
So this will be the dashboard that you'll be able to come into. It'll be loaded up on the city's webpage. Basically tells us that this is a roadmap that we're working towards to get there, and gives you a little bit of how-tos, each of these goal areas. You can click into each one of these. So these are not fully built out yet. When I publish it, they won't have tons of graphic to start. Well, they won't have any graphic to start with. The ones I'm going to show you right now are samples that I put together. But this will get much more rich and much more robust as we quarter over quarter have more data in there. You'll start seeing more trend lines and such. But you click in the first one, provide excellence in service. It's the same tactics that you saw in the document. But if we come down to Parks and Rec, deliver service excellence through relevant and accessible posted information. We click on that, then it'll bring up, our dashboard and show the number of social media followers we had in Q1, as well as interactions and minutes spent engaging and building up those dashboards.
Dashboards that actually have goals associated with it.
Yes, so it'll have the actual tactics. So those are all the tactics in the first goal, council goal, provide excellent service. All 15 of those tactics from the various departments that are in the strategic plan document are listed out on there. And you can click on any one of those. Right now, if you click on them, there's nothing there on the fire department ones because they haven't been built up.
So how are you gonna measure customer service? Whichever one you just, everything is recreation tab.
Yeah, so this one is it's delivers service excellence through relevant and accessible posted information for Parks and Rec facilities and programs. So the KPIs the Parks and Recreation Department developed for that is, how many social media followers we have on the Parks and Rec pages, the number of interactions with whatever postings we're putting out there, how many likes we get, how many forwards we get off of those, and then the amount of time that staff is spending to create all those.
So is there a goal for that? Of how many social media followers you're trying to achieve?
We don't have a goal there.
So I know it's good information, but we want to get 10,000 followers, and how are we going to get there? So it's not that's nice information to know, but is it really achieving anything?
So isn't that where the trend comes in? This is first quarter static data, but what we would expect then is the second quarter data to see an improvement, the third quarter data to see an improvement. I don't know that setting a number seems arbitrary, but building followership makes sense to me as something.
Yeah. And I go back to my original comment. Maybe this is something that we don't need to see, or the community don't need to see. You need to see it, and Marie needs to see it, but it should be attached to something to say, yes, a KPI was met, a goal was met.
So to your point, as we again continue to refine this, but a lot of it is about the trend. If some of our social media tactics aren't working or they're not getting impressions, people aren't following, that'll be very advantageous for Tiara to know as she does her things. So we're just starting, go easy.
Well, I know, it's just that I don't want you to start off with trying to get everything in the pot, because like you even get 70-some KPIs, that's a whole lot.
It is a lot.
It's
It's a lot, and I think as staff and directors go through this, they will start to figure out which of those key areas they want to keep, because these are important to the directors. I mean, I should know the numbers by heart, we talked about it, but going from the 114, the 124, whatever it is we had down to this, it was hard.
Yeah.
Getting people to
Well,
let go of those, so we're
and
still
we
working
didn't-
on it.
Council didn't create those tactics, right?
We
You
did.
all- Yeah, you all
We
did.
did.
So they started with what they thought department started with what you thought should be measured, I assume.
Oh, yeah, it just,
Versus what is manageable to measure. I get where you're going.
yeah, it's just that.
I imagine
Also,
by
they gonna find their
Q2,
time
we'll know
on
what's manageable.
just
Yeah.
keeping track of these KPIs instead of.
Yeah, because it comes to how are you gonna track them? I mean, and then is that manual? You know, I mean, what do you got? Ticks that you're looking at?
We really worked
Yeah, how
on
to-
that. I don't want to speak, we really worked for that because we don't want people then spending all their time tracking what they're
Exactly,
doing. So we
exactly.
really did focus on that.
Yeah, I cut quite a few from various departments for that. You know, they were like, we'd like to do this. How are you gonna measure it?
Right, and how you gonna
And
track
do you already have that data or do you have to create that data? Because if you have to create that data just to do this, it's probably not the best use of time.
Exactly.
But-
What they gonna do with it?
Yeah, but if these are data points that we already have
Mhm,
and that we just need a better way to share those stories,
mhm.
then it's pretty easy to do. So, you know, one of them maybe make a little more sense to the goal, council goal, ensure long-term fiscal integrity. The city's committed to engaging stakeholders, implement and maintain transparent, strong fiscal plans, policies, provide for sustainable future for residents, businesses, and employees. So one of the tactics from the Finance and Workforce Department is to maximize the city investment returns while safeguarding principal and maintaining appropriate liquidity by establishing and adhering to a comprehensive and diversified investment allocation policy. So if you click into that one, then we'll get to the graphic. And again, I made these numbers up off of old data that we had, so these aren't currently relevant, but you have total dollars invested in cash. We have 28.7 million. Just invested dollars, we have 1.3 million. Your liquidity rate is at 61%. That's money that we can easily get to in the next 7 days. Our weighted average, and yield, I misspelled, my apologies. Weighted average yield at 4.86%. And our estimated interest earned this quarter, $230,000.
And
So-
that dashboard has told me everything that's on Greg's report.
Correct.
So I don't need to see all the numbers that he gave me.
But this is
But-
still a trend over time.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that that's
This
the
is also
purpose.
a very handy tool. It's easily accessible, where it's all the information is in one database, one place that can be changed over time without having to do every individual document or whatever, whether it's for the public or for staff. It's just an easy thing, easily accessed platform.
Well, so you're not wrong, but we know that people don't read our budget documents.
Right.
For whatever reason. I can't imagine why. But we're really trying to figure out how can we help people visualize. And for those people that do read budget documents, it may not be,
So, right.
but we hope to hit people, if you will, wherever they're looking.
I also think generally there's a case to be made. You know, this council has said repeatedly, we want to be very transparent about what we're doing, and this is to me the ultimate statement of transparency. Even things that you might not think you want to know, we can tell you, we're making it available to you.
Right.
Oh, yeah, by all means. I think that's excellent. I mean, I know the number's not right, but the excellent slide. I want to know
So
what
this is
the average yield.
This can't,
I
this
can
is
just
not.
go to the board and see it.
This is not up yet. I will have this posted by end of the month, but even when you post it, I'm gonna remove these numbers out of here. So by mid-April, staff, all the department directors and leadership will have entered the data for all of those KPIs that are in this plan. And then each one of those tactics will have its own graphic.
How is it entered? Like, are they sending it to you to key or? they key?
Absolutely not.
Good, good answer.
So it takes some time to build these. So each one of these graphics, you actually build just a little simple spreadsheet for it that hold all those data points, and then build a graphic off of those data points. On April 1st, all the department directors will get an email for each one of these that will send them the link to go enter the data into that specific graph. So this one's only got, five data that they need to put in. Once they input that, they'll have about 2 weeks or so to do that, and then I will publish all those. So I just got to go in and hit make sure they're all filled out.
Do you have
hit
to send the
publish.
emails or is that all automated too?
It's all automated. It all comes out of our Invisio platform.
Did we already have this or did we purchase it for dashboard? I mean, it sounds really nice.
We purchased it for this purpose. We've had it
Yeah.
for a while, but this was what it was meant to do.
I like that you
So you
don't have
gotta
to
make
like,
a checker process of entering this, is this put in manually? We gotta somebody checking who put it in, because
Each of the
once you
departments.
put it in, it's out there, so we need some kind of make or checker process.
Yeah, we do. Yes. Agree with that. Yes, we do. But they, being the department directors and leadership designees in each of the departments, they've had the training on the dashboards, how to enter it. But anything, you're right, anything that
Cause
we
it's
do
easy to,
manually.
it's easy to fat finger
Have a fat
something,
finger,
yeah.
absolutely. And that does not take away from that human error. It
Right.
definitely could happen.
I will likely go be a secondary
You're the
checker on
checker.
them, but after they put them all in.
Mhm.
But again, I don't know every one of their data points.
Yeah.
I'll be able to see them over quarter, you can see, well, that's not right, because that bar is way up here, and it's been down here every other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to make sure we get them all right. But if someone fat fingers one, if someone spells yield wrong because they put the E before the I, it's an easy fix to go in and grab that. In fact, I probably should write myself a note on that one. Okay, so our dashboard right now isn't all that rich, so I wanted to show you a couple other ones that are a little more rich. This is the city of Corona, California. They've got some of their key performance indicators in a little bit different format, and we may get to this at one point. One of those was that public safety one I kind of showed you earlier that shows their different police and fire call volumes. Why they have a goat in the middle with acres of cleared land at 0, I'm not sure, but it must be a high priority. I mean, goats are cool. I mean, I'm down for it, but
I would like that.
I need the goat to come in and eat some land and clear it out. So once you have these in here, you can go click into their historic data, and then you'll be able to see that, you know, a little bit more year over year, quarter after quarter, that what their trend lines and graphs will look like. So
I would imagine this information would help with sunshine requests too. With either eliminating
Yeah.
or making it easier to respond to sunshine requests.
One would hope.
it might.
Yeah, and I feel like that should be a performance indicator as to whether we decrease the number of sunshine requests or if we are able to respond to them in a more efficient manner. Because all this information I think is excellent. And I think any way that we can disseminate information that your government is doing is wonderful. So I'm all for this. The question, I see Emerson's point is like, what do you do with the key performance indicators? Where does that lead it? I've always had issues with why are we developing a strategic plan? So, but that's neither here nor there. But I love this dashboard mechanism. I think this is excellent for the public. And I would hope that maybe we can direct people to this information rather than them wasting our staff's time with sunshine requests for information that is easily accessible online now.
Is a link adequate to provide for a sunshine request?
No, because it has to be a document, right? It's something that's created that the city maintains. So the benefit would be if people are no longer making requests because they can see the information publicly. A question I would have is, how is this information stored? I mean, is it ultimately held in a spreadsheet? Does it go away when it's historical data, and so it's being kept somewhere, which could also be the subject of sunshine requests.
So currently it's all housed at the company is Invisio, is the company that we're using for this dashboard. So it's all housed in their cloud, but it's easily downloadable anytime. We can run reports off of it. Actually, I ran a report earlier tonight, so we can print reports out of it that would give us all that information, and we could keep it, and we could. I haven't gotten into the reporting yet, but it may be if they wanted sunshine for everything, it's possible that we could just print out one report right out of that software to give them to.
And Visio, that's our backup is Invisio, so who's Invisio's backup?
I don't have an answer for that. I would imagine Amazon Web Services.
Yeah, they gotta have something up in somewhere, in case they go bad. Which they can't do.
So I'm just trying to think of the flow chart here. This seems more appropriate for IT to handle. To inputting and making sure it's appropriate, especially if we're gonna, because it isn't the idea on this budget that we would add an additional IT employee.
You all have already approved that.
So I know that they're already overworked, and I know that this seems like a lot of work for you, Scott. And I think all our top staff have a lot on their plate. But I wonder if this is something where IT could help manage it.
So I think once it's up and running, I've still got a little bit more work to build all those visuals and graphics out, but once they're built, it's really simple. And it doesn't have to be the department director entering those. There's multiple people in certain departments that have access, and maybe one person does one of the graphics and one person does another one, depending on how that department wants to divvy up their workflow or who's already the keeper and holder of that information. But it doesn't all have to go through the chief to get input, and then
Because all they gotta do is put in the numbers and the graphs are created.
you're right, the graphs automatically create themselves, so they're just really typing 4 or 5 numbers in a
And their
spreadsheet.
numbers they're collecting anyway.
And numbers they should be collecting
Yeah.
anyways, yep.
And I wanna make sure I understand where you're going with, because the IT staff or whoever it was, they're not gonna know those numbers. Only the department is
Yeah.
going to have that
Yeah.
data. But the goal is for it not to be time intensive
Yeah.
or labor intensive, to your point.
Absolutely.
Both police has an administrative coordinator, planning has an administrative coordinator. Those are the bulk. Parks and Rec has some other staff, and it would be deleted between Parks and Rec. Fire does not, but we do have to figure out some of those.
How many of
pieces.
these data points are coming from your office though?
For further discussion. So, but it is, I mean, it is, and you mentioned the clerk and the sunshine, and I don't believe the clerk has a dashboard.
Yeah.
So how do we address those
Yeah.
things?
Have a goat.
That's the best one. So, and that's, all of the data that we want to share, and there's even more things we want to share, but it can be labor intensive,
Yeah.
and at some points, and
Updating it.
I don't know how to measure this, and I know you're gonna ask, but what is the return on investment? When do we decide?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, Katie, you are the goat.
Ooh.
Yeah, so really, the reporting on it, it's only gonna take, they're only gonna have 2 weeks to do once a quarter. And it's not gonna take a full 2 weeks. They have 2 weeks to input their, most departments have about 10 tactics now, is all we really have. And so it's not times 4 data points per tactic. They got 40 numbers they need to key into a set of spreadsheets. It won't be that labor intensive.
We're hoping as we move forward with this, so the annual report, which again, we take to the library, and I think you all read it, maybe, please tell me you read it. I don't know, okay, I don't know who else reads it. But the structure of it is pretty outdated, even though it has great information. So Tiara's ideas are that moving forward, we have a visual annual report. And so we can take some of this data, and not that we wouldn't have anything hard copy or printed, but how can this be the foundation for a lot more information that we're putting out there?
And we can share any of those graphics out very easily. They all have their own link. So we can grab those graphics if we wanted to throw one of them onto one of our Facebook pages to show something if there's community conversation going on or whatever. There's another city of McKinney, Texas. They're a little farther along than we are. So as you can see, they're 36% of the way through their plan right now. Ours will eventually have these same types of graphics that'll show you, we're on track out of all those tactics and goals. They're on track to reach them by their deadlines at 80%. A few of them have some disruptions, some of them have major disruptions, and some of them have already been completed. So as ours get built up, it'll have these same types of overall graphics on the whole plan as well. And then you'll also see those same things in color format.
Click
down
on
here.
your books and just see.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, neat.
Basically the same as ours. So you've got, operational excellence is their goal. They've got balances available to resource, shows you their status, on track. And then some of these every city does these a little bit differently. Some of them have the graphics like we're showing. Some of them have some more verbal descriptions and updates. We can do this as well as we move through. We're kind of baby stepping into this a little bit because that portion will get a little more labor intensive, but it may be something that some of these need. We need a little description on them or to tell more about that story than just a graphic. And we have that ability to put that in there.
Can you talk about the Prop W or comp plan?
Yes, absolutely. So this same software has the ability to produce these same types of dashboards for specific projects. And we're going to be rolling that module out too, so that we can track, say Prop W. So it'll be a module for Prop W that'll have a graphic interface. It'll have the map of the city on there. It'll show the different locations for where any of those projects are happening. It'll show the same type of stuff that we're 75% of the way through the build process, or we're still in the public input phase, or where we're at. We can use that for SS4A. We can use it for Prop W or any of those other types of special initiatives, special projects that we have. We just have to get those created and put together. So it's a really rich platform. I am still learning it, and the more I learn about it, the cooler it appears to get. So excited to get some of this information rolled out to the public so they can be more involved in the process with us.
So you can add a module for each of those. So the overall strategic plan, and then Prop W, and then the comprehensive plan, all within this that we've already purchased. It's not like you gotta buy
Correct.
another, so it's okay.
And those would be separate from the strategic plan,
Right.
but they'll be on, the Prop W page. We can have these same types of graphics, same type of, or for the comp plan, or for wherever else we're at in the projects as we move forward.
I'm still thinking about what you said, Councilman Franklin. I'm convinced that the more information we put out, the more requests we're gonna get.
Yeah, that's
Truly, I think
Yeah,
the more
it's a
that's
chicken and
there.
egg thing,
It's gonna challenge it.
I just,
Where did this come from?
I think this is unbelievable. I think that this really demonstrates, just the graphics, put aside the strategic plan for a minute. I think this really demonstrates how we have progressed into the 21st century and how far behind we were prior to this administration. I'll applaud you guys for this. I think that this is really key information that citizens and taxpayers have the right to see on a accessible format like that. So thank you.
Accessible form, sorry, real quick, accessible format. This is all bilingual too. So if anybody's using any type of other languages, it is through the Google interface. It will switch all the text on here to Spanish or whichever language format they're using through Google. So it's all set up to do that as well. Sorry.
I was just saying, I would think it might take some thought process of redesigning our website. Is this important enough to be front and center versus some of the other stuff we put out there? Because you have to dig for some stuff, but I think this is important enough for the residents to see as they come on to the website.
We have a huge website overhaul coming. Tiara's gonna talk with you all about that in an upcoming meeting, aren't you, Tiara? She's online.
Oh.
We're getting there, but it's time. And as you all know, we had a huge website overhaul, but we're working on it. Departments are slowly cleaning out files. Actually, you can share some information. Strategic innovations.
Sure. So that's coming this fall. The last one was 2016 was the last time we did a website overhaul. And in the 9 years since then, you're right, we've created a lot of additional pages. There are times where you have to click through 6 or 7 pages to get to where you need to be to find the information you want. It's gotten a little cumbersome. So we're looking to roll that back, clean that up. We've got a lot of historical data on there. The website has become our archive, and I'm not sure that the website should necessarily be our archive that has all that information all the time, because it gets cumbersome to find what you want. So one of the ideas is potentially keeping, a year's worth of stuff on there, maybe 2 for council agendas or something like that. But the stuff that's 10 years old, or, whether that's Parks and Rec or Public Works or whichever departments, that we don't need 10-year-old data on there. We can have a separate archive for that. If someone needs that data for some reason, we can pull it out of the archive off SharePoint or whatever and get it to them, but make that website much more user-friendly.
Is there a data retention? So I know, again, I'm in finance, so it's highly regulated, and so there's data retention requirements. You need to keep things for so many years after, something's been closed or resolved, or and you can be cited for over retention as much as you can for under retention. So is there anything like that for municipal government?
Yes.
Over retention? Retention, period. I mean, just
Yeah.
your retention, your
There's
data
lots of
your data retention requirements. But, and I'm just saying that it includes over retention just as long as it does, you know, with the exception of things that may have to be kept for legal hold or things like that. There's.
Yeah, the Secretary of State publishes like 150-page document that outlines every single type of government record you could imagine and lists the time frame that that has to be kept. And so we have copies of those. And like for Parks and Rec, I've highlighted all the ones that were for Parks and Rec, and I gave it to the new Parks and Rec director and said, these are your guidelines. Don't get rid of something that's highlighted inside that 3-year, 7-year time frame. But at the end of 3 years, shred that stuff and get rid of it because we got too much of it later on.
And we're really good at retaining. We are not good at getting rid of.
Right, and that's what it's because I know, I mean, I know, and Robert helped me because I was looking for something on it, and it's literally 400 different types of permitting information in there, and I couldn't find what I was looking for, neither could Robert. And, you know, so I'm just.
So, and that's gonna be a huge chore, excuse me, as we all dive into this, having the department spend the time and have the time available to be able to go through all of those documents, work with Katie's office on retention schedules, and that's the easier part, but getting rid of it, sifting through it, and making sure we're adhering to the rules, keeping what we need to, but we've got everything, whereas it's a different story.
All right, Scott, any final questions?
It's a great job.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
like where you're going with this stuff.
Sometimes with patience, a very good result comes, so thank you for that.
I appreciate your patience.
All right, so we need to make some appointments to boards and commissions here. So we have, just to review, we have a city planning commission opening a library board. City plan, Christy Phelps is our only applicant. Would we like to appoint her?
Yes.
Okay. Library board. We have one vacancy, Leanne Coates, who interviewed today. Previously interviewed were Allison Ben Stawald, Nancy Brown, Rachel McClanahan, Cronster. I did it right the first time, I know. Christy Vogel. Who's the library board liaison? Do you have any thoughts on?
We meet tomorrow night. We can discuss the floor tomorrow night and see what their thoughts are.
Well, please discuss all 5.
Okay.
Okay. If you would like to do that,
Yeah.
Is council okay with doing that, wait until the next meeting? Okay. It's one vacancy and they all show up, I think, so I don't think we'll worry about quorum for them. Okay, so that gets us to also John Sauter. We need to formally tonight appoint him to the Business Development Commission. He's gonna fill Mike Pincus's vacancy.
I would vote yes for that.
All right, whoops, I circled the wrong name. That would have been bad. All right, so then how do we feel about ARB? So Katie, have we advertised for ARB?
We
Have
have not
not.
advertised, but
Right.
we have applications already, you know, we're supposed to advertise in 45 days.
Yeah,
But kind of already have, you know, 2 people that are interested
okay,
on file.
okay.
So without even advertising.
Okay, so the real question is, we have the 2 leadership positions that are essentially met our term limits. But it does leave a void if we basically tell them your time's up.
So how experienced is the most experienced on the ARB
After those 2.
after those 2? I mean,
Oh, after?
haven't they been on for a while? I would think like Carol, she's still on and.
Carol, I think would have the next seniority. Yeah, she's been on since 2019.
And then after that, I'm just curious what the breakdown is.
The other one was appointed in 2024, another one in 2022. Now the alternates, one was 2024, and then Mark Vogel's been on there since 2019. So as far as the regular members, you know, it will be next at 2019.
Yeah, it seems like they have enough experience that we would
we would not be in a bad way if the two of them rolled off. Once.
So it's just a matter of whether any of those people are qualified to be a leader or want to be the leader, and if they don't want to be a vice chair or a chair, then maybe we could offer the.
Who's the staff liaison there now?
Jamie is good, not here today.
No, that's council staff.
Oh,
Is it
staff
Jim
liaison,
Bailey?
sorry.
Is it Jim Bailey?
For ARB.
Mhm.
Jim Bailey.
Yeah.
Planning.
Thank you.
Would you like for me to do a little more research? It sounds like
And they're
maybe hear from Jim and then find out whether they're all interested or
Maybe
you want to just
alternates.
go.
You said it was two alternates? on
There's
there?
two alternates.
Would they have any interest in moving?
One of them was appointed in January 2024, but the other one, if he would be interested, was appointed in 2019.
Do the
But his term
two,
expires this year. Too.
as
Okay, what's their
alternate?
term?
do the two leaders? do they-
What is their term?
I didn't want to ask, I didn't want to ask them until,
Must be.
if I can tell them council hasn't made a decision, but they'd like for me to inquire and not make any promises, that's one way to go about it. I just didn't want to ask if council was gonna say absolutely not.
Yeah, I would be okay, like, I mean, if we transition them to just regular members. And then that way there's some continuity for whoever the two new leaders are.
Okay. So how about if I have a conversation with both the chair and the vice chair, just explain the circumstance, we're trying to work it out. Would they be willing to be flexible with us as we try and work this out? Or are they finished?
And does it matter which, don't each of them, isn't there like certain field of expertise that the members are supposed to have?
That one's not as hard because they're all architects.
They're all, okay,
Oh, that's where it's actually simple.
okay.
I feel like we should name a day after them though, because that's 2 meetings a month that they've done for 8 years now.
No, that's why I'm thinking, I don't think it would be a crisis if they both left.
It might be.
Oh, yeah, because there are more meetings than any.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I just wanted to bring it up
Yeah.
because they were both, turned
Yeah,
they are
out and
gonna
they're
want-
both the leaders, so.
Yeah, well, how about if I just have a very honest conversation, and then I'll bring back to you what
Yeah.
information I learned.
That's great that.
The
we
other
have-
option is to disband the air.
Oh, David.
With the strategic.
We were waiting for the torches.
And then we get all the plans, we've gone out, we'll be gone all over
Okay,
the other way.
all right, I think that concludes our work session agenda, unless anyone's remembered anything. Okay, we'll go make the appointments that are solid in the regular meeting, so how about, 3 or 4 minutes and we will convene there.
All right.
I'm gonna dare to say it's a relatively light agenda, we'll see who makes it more than that.
I'll talk some more.
Here's my part.
We welcome your questions, ideas, and comments. For those of you who are in attendance, those of you who are online, we also would love to hear from you. Each of you may speak for 3 minutes when called upon by me as chair of the meeting. If you're online and would like to make a comment, at that point, we'll ask you to use the raise your hand function, please. All right. And if you are here in the room, actually, and want to make a comment, we got a card. If you'll fill out a card, that would be great. We will start with call of the roll.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Arnold,
Here.
Councilmember Bliss,
Here.
Councilmember Franklin,
Here.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Alexander,
Here.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd, Councilmember Hasselmeyer is absent.
All right, we're going to start with one of the things that we always like to do here, and that is recognitions. And today we're going to do a proclamation for Women's History Month. And what I'll do is I'm going to read it from here, since I'm not sure we have a microphone set up to do it in the well there. But then I will come down and we'll present it to Caroline Green, who is here on behalf of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And the DAR is involved in historic preservation and education. And I know they're doing a lot of work as we look toward the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So I'll read it from here, but then Caroline, I'll come down and give it to you and we'll take a picture if you don't mind. All right. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, and whereas American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home, and whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation. And whereas American women are particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation, and whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. And whereas American women have served our country courageously in the military and been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which creates a more fair and just society for all. Now, therefore, I, Laura Arnold, Mayor of the City of Webster Groves, on behalf of the entire City Council, hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women's History Month in the City of Webster Groves, and thank all the women in our country and our community for all their countless contributions to our society.
No, we can stay out there.
Thanks so much for coming. So happy to be here. Well, the Webster Groves chapter is going to be so thrilled to make this. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Oh, good. Thanks. All right. Have a good evening. You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to go on. Thank you. Oh, yes. All right, Mr. Buck, we have come to the time for remarks of community and visitors, and you are up, my friend.
There you go. Dave Buck, Colonial Village Apartments. I want to talk about Women's History Month as well from a local standpoint. Experts say that women often make better leaders than men. So let's just see how Webster Groves has been doing the last 40, 50 years. In Webster Groves, women are a little more than half, or 53% of our total population. But consider that we have had a woman mayor for the last 39 years. Over 70% of city council members are women. Marie, I believe, is the first ever woman city manager, with several talented women on city staff, Katie, Karen, Renee, Tiara among them. Over 70% of school board members are women, and a new woman superintendent was just hired. 77% of our public school teachers are women. 7 of 9 of our Webster Groves School District principals are women. 7 of 10 of other Webster school principals are women. And women lead at least half of the city's boards, commission, businesses, clergy, and civic organizations. I could go on, but in Webster Groves, women rule. As such, may I please recognize by name just a few of the many city council and staff women leaders who have significantly shaped and positively made a difference in our city's history, who are no longer with us or are no longer serving in office. They include Henrietta Ambrose, who was the first Black person ever to serve on city council. Glenn Sheffield, hopefully you know her name. She was Webster's first woman mayor, elected in 1986 for 8 years, followed by Terry Williams for 4 years, Jerry Welch for 24 years, and Laura now for 3 of her first 4 years, for a total of 39 years. Past women city council members who have served admirably: Kathy Hart, Tony Hunt, Debbie Sahlberg, Jeannie Kirkton, and Joan Esserman. Past Women's City staff members include Joan Jadali, Jen Starkey, Karen Beck, Don Cole, Mara Perry, Jennifer Conrad, Roxanne, and Vera Cavato. In summary, we talk about DEI, but this is the big DEI opportunity to me. Over 100 years since women got the right to vote in 1920, women today, on average, only make 80 cents for every dollar a man makes. That's a crime. We talk about DEI with race and gender and religion. This is the biggest DEI inequity in America today, that women do not make the same amount of money as men. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. All right, is there any new business from council members, city attorney? Yes.
Just checking.
Oh, I forgot to check. If you are online and you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand function. All right, thank you. Appreciate the reminder. Any new business? All right, we will move on then to unfinished business.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah,
if you don't mind,
I don't.
new business, East Central Dispatch
Oh,
Center.
yes.
Having that discussion, and I believe council is going to charge me with writing a letter to the East Central Dispatch Center. And just as a reminder, that is our consortium that provides fire and police dispatching. It originally started with 8 member cities, is down to 7 member cities, and we were notified that one will most likely be exiting this week upon vote of aldermen. So we are, of course, concerned with the continued increased price of services, to some extent to service delivery as well. And I have now heard from some council persons that would like some answers. So I believe there was a letter forthcoming that council would sign on to.
Yes, I apologize. That was on me. I was supposed to add that to the agenda. Absolutely. I know many of us, I have done so. I know Councilmember Franklin have done so, have asked for this. Is there anyone on council who objects to a strongly worded letter? Which right now would replace the calling up and being upset that I think many of us have in mind.
So
All
the
right.
strongly worded letter would be, well, not to Rock Hill, because they're the ones that's talking.
No,
about
this
leaving, but
really
it'd be
is-
to us having, continuing the bulk of the expense of this. Was it what, us in Clayton? That are,
We are the highest member cities, yes.
So the idea would be to push hard on what's the plan here?
mhm.
What's the plan financially? What's the plan in terms of staffing? What's the plan in terms of management? Because cost can't continue to rise
Right.
for those of us. They can't continue to rise at the rate they've been rising over the last 10 years anyway. And as we lose members, that puts a greater burden on those of us, especially the larger cities that still
Mhm.
Are part of the consortium.
Yeah.
All right, we will await your draft.
Thank you.
All right, unfinished business. Councilmember Alexander, could you call for the third reading of bill number 9277, please?
Yes, I would like to call for the third and final reading of bill number 9277 and its subsequent adoption.
Second.
Bill number 9277, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute on behalf of the city of Webster Groves a permanent pedestrian easement and traffic signal easement to the St. Louis County Department of Transportation and Public Works related to a portion of property located by 845 Marshall Avenue associated with federal project number STP-5613, paren 610 end paren.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, let's have that vote, please.
Councilmember Bliss?
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Yes.
Mayor Arnold?
Yes. All right, is there anything anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? Right, Councilmember Franklin, could you call for its approval, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to call for the approval and adoption of the consent agenda.
Second.
Councilmember Franklin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Arnold?
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss?
Yes. All right, we have made a couple of appointments to boards and commissions this evening. Christy Phelps has been appointed to the City Plan Commission. John Sauter has been appointed to the Business Development Commission. And we will have a couple others forthcoming shortly. All right, we do have a brief closed session.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to call for an executive closed section related to personnel, Missouri statute 610.021 subsection 3.
Second.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander,
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd,
Yes.
Mayor Arnold,
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss,
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin.
Yes.
All right, that concludes our regular meeting. I will especially say thank you to the members of our staff who are here this evening for our few minutes. We appreciate you always being here. Dave, you too. Thanks.